You're listening to Passing Time, a Detroit Lions podcast. We're one pride and all grit, with a passion for Detroit Lions football. Whether you're between meetings, between classes, sitting in traffic, or just relaxing at home, if you have time to pass, pass it with Passing Time. Detroit Lions Talk.
Welcome back. Episode number 51, B. Mikes.
51.
You are passing time with us, a Detroit Lions podcast. I'm Rob.
I'm Brian.
Hey, today we're going to do a quick podcast, and we are going to give you kind of the way too early instant reaction to the schedule coming out.
Yep. I mean, so we saw the release come out yesterday. Exciting stuff to see how the Lions are going to, to work out in regards to the schedule, and there's a couple little spots there that I'm like a little bit worried about, but overall I liked how the schedule panned out. So,
and then we'll probably cram at the end just our thoughts on the end of the roster construction after the draft, where we're sitting, how we're feeling. Are we still euphoric? Have we simmered down our hope a little bit? And we'll see if Bill has anything to add to the back end of the podcast.
Sure. Well, let's get it rolling.
That sounds good. All right. Yeah. So let's skip the preseason, Brian, and we'll go right into week one. Okay, a home opener against the New Orleans Saints.
I like warming up right there. I like the opener at home against the Saints, which I am hopeful that the Lions are tremendously better than. So
I think the Saints are starting to cook a little bit. I think they got a good coach. I think Kellen Moore is a good coach. I think they found I don't think they found a superstar quarterback, but I think they found a guy that could be a starter for them.
Yep.
I think they're drafting well. They're getting rid of some of these old contracts that have just doomed them. They're not quite ready to maybe make the big jump yet.
Yep, they're not quite there yet, and the Lions should be able to take care of business, especially early in this season. But it is a good get the wheels greased, get it rolling a little bit, get Petzing, a game under his belt as the Detroit Lions OC, get Kafka going as the support system and that passing game coordinator, get Kelvin Shepard figuring out what we're going to do, the ins and outs and so on, and get the Lions rolling.
The NFC South is a lot like the AL Central, right? So this is they're in the playoff hunt just for existing in the NFC South. So this is a big game for them. But, Brian, way too early prediction for this game.
Well, it's going to be a Lions win right there. That way too early prediction, but the Lions are going to roll it off or start it off on a positive note.
All right, I like it. Also, Lions W. 1-0. 1-0 after week one. Week two is a tricky one, Brian.
So we're going to Buffalo, opening their stadium on a Thursday night, prime time, and it's the Buffalo Bills they're a tough team.
They're legit. They're obviously a playoff contender, a Super Bowl contender. There's going to be a lot of juice there. They got this new stadium. They're amped up. I mean, I think it was like an 18-month or a 24-month build.
Yeah.
And they kept it exposed. It's not a dome. They put it up to the fans. The fans said no, they want the elements. It'll be early in the year, so it'll probably be pretty good weather.
Yeah, for sure.
But a very, very difficult game for the Lions on a short week on the road to go to Buffalo.
And so this would be where I would predict that the Lions might go 1-1 in those first two games. Fall to the Bills. In that week two matchup. So. All
right, yeah, I'm in. I don't like agreeing the whole time, so we have some deviation here, but this is unrehearsed. We're kind of going through this kind of raw and giving it to you, and hoping to inject some enthusiasm into you with this schedule release. So,
sure.
Week 3. So we have 1-1 Detroit Lions. Week 3, New York Jets at home. The way this schedule's unfolding, just thinking about it, is the Saints is kind of it's a Dan Campbell type game,
Yep.
right? Like he came from there, right? The Bills a little less, but then you got the Jets.
And AG coming back home, trying to impose some of his defensive will against the Detroit Lions, having some of his nuances, knowing that Kelvin Shepard was one of his proteges, and are we going to see his best? And are the New York Jets going to start to get some traction in his year 2 of his regime?
No, they're not, Brian. Actually, the New York Jets are right there with the Miami Dolphins as 2 teams that are going to be fighting for a top 5 pick in the next NFL draft. This looks like a Lions W, and honestly, I think AG is a sacrificial lamb. And he's going to have a tough season.
He's going to have a tough season. I completely agree. And I would be very surprised if AG makes it through the entire season as the New York Jets head coach.
Lions 2-1 going into week 4 at the Carolina Panthers on Sunday Night Football.
Another primetime game. I don't believe that the Carolina Panthers are going to reach the same status as they did this past year. I think they're going to take a step back, and therefore the Lions are going to be able to come into Carolina, and I feel like they're going to, again, keep it rolling there. So I think they're going to leave Week 4 with a 3-1 record. So
Week 4, 3-1 record. It's a tough game. Carolina Panthers. Who did they give they gave the business to? Was it the Rams? And made it a close playoff game. Solid team. They're adding more offensive weapons over there. Again, don't want to agree a whole lot, and I'm looking at the next couple weeks, and we're probably going to do some agreeing here.
Sure.
But the Lions are sitting here after Week 4 at 3-1, and we're feeling pretty good about the Detroit Lions at this point.
And then back-to-back road games on to the Arizona Cardinals to see what Petzing can do against his former team. So
another little narrative in that game. So Cardinals are in an interesting state, and I'll be very interested to see in this game if the Cardinals are featuring Jacoby Brissett or if they have already moved on to Carson Beck. If they're for the Lions, man. The Cardinals are another team that are going to be playing for a top 5 NFL draft pick.
Yep.
And the Lions get to play 2 of those teams in the first 5 weeks, and actually they end up playing all 3 of those teams in the course of the year.
You would hope that in the schedule release that we could spread some of these guys out, but hopefully we are able to get things rolling. We hopefully are able to get a Blake Miller under, his feet under him. You get Penei Sewell used to that left side a little bit more. You have, again, Kelvin Shepard's defense starting to roll on some of all those cylinders, and I think Arizona is just going to be one of those warm-up games along the road. So
calling a road game a warm-up game is that's Honolulu Blue Kool-Aid. I think road games are tough in the NFL. It's hard to win all your road games or a road game. This one seems a little bit more on the winnable side.
Sure.
But I'm not quite where Brian is. We're talking about cakewalks here.
Are you trying to be controversial with me? Are you trying to look for that one game that we can disagree on?
I think we're gonna have one. I think we're gonna have one coming up here.
Sure.
Week 6, they get a bye, right?
Yeah.
So good time for one.
Is it? Because I really wish that they would be able to push that back into maybe week 9. But obviously week 6 is where it falls on. But does feel good going into Green Bay, the Green Bay week at home, having that bye week to get an extra week of preparation. So
Sunday, Green Bay Packers 4:25 game. This is where the season really starts, Brian.
Yep. This is the NFC North. We're going to start to see some of those divisional rivals and what have they done up until this point to establish themselves. I mean, the Green Bay starts off their week 1 with Minnesota, and then on to the New York Jets. They're seeing Atlanta, Tampa Bay, and Chicago all before they would and Dallas all before they would see us. So.
And if you're a Lions fan, that's feeling mighty good to you. That is a much tougher.
Yep.
Also, they've got a couple North games under their belt.
And is Micah Parsons going to be healthy by week 7? You know, you consider he's probably considered to be back around week 5, maybe even a little bit earlier. But you know, those ACL injuries, you're not really truthful yourself until maybe even a year later. So
yeah, all right, that's a good angle there.
Yeah.
And you know, Micah Parsons is a game changer for sure. So you know, the Packers had a little bit of a gauntlet getting into this game, and now the Lions, you know, they go back-to-back games in the NFC North, and but they're home games.
Yep.
And they welcome the Minnesota Vikings with either the fighting J.J. McCarthy's or the potential Kyler Murray's.
You see Kyler Murray coming back, and I would be very surprised if Kyler Murray isn't the starting quarterback at this point. But you know, crazier things have happened in the NFC North. So
Vikings are going to be tough. The same defensive coordinator, same defense. It'll be a very tough game. So actually, I apologize, Brian. We have to go back, and you have to tell me: do we win the Packer game at home?
I do believe that we're gonna. Yes, we're gonna take that Packer game at home.
So we're 5-1 in
right now,
your take
5-1,
right now.
feeling really good going into the Minnesota Vikings. So
we're 5-1 going to the Vikings, and then we precurse this Vikings game, another one at home. Are you feeling pretty good about what that looks like? Because preview to the Vikings game, the Vikings, you know, they've played some, I would call it a slightly tougher schedule than what the Lions have played.
yeah, I mean they're going to see the Packers, they're going to see the Bears, they're going to see the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They're going to have a little bit relief with the Miami Dolphins and the Saints and their bye week in week 6 as well. But yeah, I mean going into the Lions game, I think they're going to be in a very similar spot as the Lions, and I'll be very intrigued to see how things are rolling for them. Why? Because I don't believe they got necessarily a ton better in their offseason acquisitions, but I do believe that the Minnesota Vikings are still going to be a tough team to deal with, and they always have been for the Detroit Lions.
So home game, Lions
Home game.
pull it off or no?
I'm going to go with a Minnesota win and a Detroit loss at this game right here.
With a smile on your face.
No, I don't like it. I want to say that the Lions are going to come out of there 6-1 and rolling into Miami, but I can't with the reality, and you know, I don't want to be a complete homer and saying that they're just going to roll through this schedule.
Well, so. You've got 50 episodes of being a complete homer here. So no, Lions win this game 6-1. Good start of the year. Not a tough schedule. And speaking of not a tough schedule, so you're 5-2. I'm 6-1. Bring this to Vegas. Obviously, This is guaranteed stuff. Week 9, they go play a true road game, and they go down to South Beach, and they play probably the worst team in the NFL.
Worst, and this
one of the worst rosters we've
This
seen.
is their get-right game going into their international stuff.
Shout out to T-Rob, who is a closet
T-Rob.
Dolphins fan.
Sorry, T-Rob,
yeah.
but no, man, he's given us his Lions fandom. So
He has, yeah.
You know, this is going to be a Detroit victory and should be handily. Because I'm not gonna lie, who's Malik Willis going to throw to? Is he just going to hand it off the entire time? Is there anybody to block? You know, what do we got going on here? The Miami Dolphins are in shambles right now, and I'd be very surprised if they win 4 games in the entire 2026 season. So
it's impressive. They're paying off some really big contracts right now on other teams, and they're doing what the New Orleans Saints are doing. Is basically they're punting a year. They're basically saying, all right, here's our contracts. You would take Tua. Who else? Cheetah. They're paying Cheetah a lot of money.
Yep.
Tyreek Hill and I think Bradley Chubb. There's a lot of guys that they're paying big money to
not be there.
To not be there.
Yeah.
So they're kind of doing a hard reset. I feel really, really good about that. Lions are 7-1 and looking real good after this week, Brian. And in your case, They're 6-2.
6-2. So still looking really good and getting ready for international game in Munich.
Munich. So earlier today, sitting on the couch watching the Pistons, Detroit basketball.
Let's go.
And
Game 7.
Sit next to my beautiful, lovely wife. And I got, I want this is going to be put in the record books here, but I got full permission to go to Germany and see our Detroit Lions in Germany. So
all right. I'm going to work on my permission now, and I'm hoping Steph can make a good recommendation to Lisa and see how that thing rolls out.
It just happens our family we're getting dinner tomorrow night.
We should bring this up in conversation.
After a couple glasses of wine, like let it loosen up a little bit. So we are going, the Lions, potentially us, we're going to Munich. We got to take this. Also, this is a business decision. We got to take this podcast international, right?
Write this off, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's a large tax write-off here. So playing the Patriots in Munich, Sunday at 9:30 a.m. Eastern time, whatever time that is in Munich. I think it's a 6-hour difference. And the Patriots, and this is a home game for the Lions.
This is not an easy game, and I love the idea of playing in Munich because of the Amon Ra, the German connection there, the what he's built in Germany as a fan base. But what I'm hearing as well is that coming away from the Tom Brady, the Bill Belichick, the success that the Patriots have had in the last decade or so, there's still a pretty strong fan base in Germany for the New England Patriots.
Well, that's interesting. Are they fans of, Mike Vrabel's been in the headlines. He's been in the global headlines. Maybe they're big fans of
infidelity. I don't know.
The Germans they don't show their cards a whole lot, but maybe they show their husbands or their girlfriends. It's an interesting. Is there a lot of distractions going on in New England? Are we building them up because?
So we have to also remember the New England Patriots last year played a 4th place schedule, which the Lions have the blessings of doing this year, and now New England will be playing that 1st place schedule, and ultimately, we know things are going to be tougher. It's not that they're going to get everyone's best game this year versus the question mark on whether New England's legit.
So the Lions will.
I do believe the Lions in Germany will pull out a victory.
All right. So and you got the Lions at 7-2 after coming home from Germany. Man, this is ridiculous, but I am also gonna go 7-2.
Are you sure they haven't?
I'm gonna say they lose in Germany because I just think that the Patriots are a different style team. Running quarterback, got some weapons, a grinded out team. It's a tough game, and I just feel like also I've been a little rosy going into this, so I like.
All right.
I like 8-2, different patterns. So we come back from Germany, week 11. We play a Sunday afternoon game at home, a real home game against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Yeah, this is gonna be tough. It's again. You're looking at a condensed, lots of games in a short amount of time here. So if you think about week 10, week 11, week 12, what is it? 3 games.
We're not to week 12 yet, Brian.
I know, but you're looking past a little bit. You're coming off of international travels, coming into. Again, a Sunday to Sunday game, but Tampa Bay Buccaneers are no slouch, and I do believe we dropped this game to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
At home, okay.
At home.
Brian, why do Pirates like corn so much? Because they're a Buccaneer! I think the Lions take care of business here. We win this game.
Okay.
And so you're at 7-3. I'm at 8-2 right now. Going into week 12, I would say the biggest week so far in the year. It's a Thursday night football game against the Fighting Johnsons, the Chicago Bears.
Yep, this is another tough game. Again, short. I referenced this earlier. Short week.
Another home game.
So another home game technically, but this is a lot of football in a short amount of time. I do think they get right here. I think they lose at Tampa Bay, but they are able at home on Thanksgiving, which doesn't necessarily happen often. This is going against what I really, maybe this is some of my fandom coming out, but I do believe they pull out a victory to Chicago at home. So.
My wife fancies herself as a Chicago Bears fan. She couldn't name the one player on the offensive line, probably not a running back, probably not a wide receiver. I'm trying to convert her to the good side. It's been hard.
She's got to be supportive of your boys, too. And Quinn. I mean, let's be honest.
Yeah, Quinn's a diehard Lions fan in her first 6 months. Lions, they beat the Bears. The Bears are going to be a formidable team this year. They are going to be solid. But, man, at this point, are they the Gary Berries yet? Or have they announced officially? Whatever, all that stuff. So.
Indiana Bears.
Yeah. Which she's from the region. That'd be good for the region. There's not much down there besides gas stations, chain restaurants, and maybe the Chicago Bears.
Yeah, there you go.
So we'll see. Week 13, Atlanta Falcons.
I believe again this is a away game. I don't believe Atlanta is all that formidable right now. They have a couple quarterbacks that are dealing with injuries, and who's going to be healthy at this time? Who knows? So I would say that the Detroit Lions, it's going to be the Jahmyr Gibbs, Bijan Robinson kind of showdown, and I think Jahmyr Gibbs is going to be the better back.
So the Lions are now 9-3 coming out of that game. I agree. Hate agreeing. I hate for you, our raving fans. I want to disagree with this guy so much and create banter.
It's hard to disagree when you're right.
Yeah.
Though, okay.
So this is looking a little. We pulled up the stats here on Vegas, and Vegas is we're favored in what was it like
14 of 17 games,
but the over under was 10.5, right? So interesting. So we both got the Lions beating the Falcons, and you look another week, you're kind of thinking, okay, all right, things got to get tougher, right? They got to get tougher, and then...
But they don't yet.
No, you got the Fighting Warren Moons coming to town, the Tennessee Titans on week 14.
And again, I coming home, it's still another solid victory for the Detroit Lions. You got Salah coming home to Detroit, but he does not get a victory. So
the Titans are doing it right. They're building right. They're just a year out, or maybe 2 years out.
Maybe 2.
Yeah. So then, we get off that week, right? So
we hit our 10. We hit our 10.
Our 10 wins. Yep. So we're at 10 wins. 10-3. Week 15, a big road game. Prime time Sunday Night Football at the Minnesota Vikings, Brian.
So this is where I have the Lions split with the Minnesota. I had them losing earlier. I have them winning in Minnesota. The skull, they silenced the skull in order to take this victory. So.
All right. No rhyme or reason, just...
I say they split with the Vikings.
Okay, they split with the Vikings. So I'm going to say they lose this game, a tough game. The skull crushes them just like it crushes your gums when you go to the dentist. And the Lions lose a tough one. First loss in the NFC North to date. So you play that game, and you're like, all right, tough week 16, Brian?
Yeah, well, I mean, New York. I feel like New York is a sneaky good team this year.
Okay. They gave the Lions the business last year.
I think Jackson Dart being healthy, you have a lot of defensive weapons coming.
Time out. He's healthy week 16? You're just saying, he's getting to week 16 healthy?
I think so. I think he's a tough guy, and I think that, Harbaugh is a great coach. I think he's going to teach this guy how to slide a little bit more and play the game at an NFL level. And I think that he is going to be healthy at this point of the season. I think, to be honest with you, I think New York is going to be a sneaky good team.
So at home, New York Giants.
Still think we get the victory. I think it's going to be a tough victory, but I think we are able to pull this one out.
The Giants are building. I think Harbaugh is going to get them there. I think it's going to take a couple years. They're young. Yep. They're ambitious. They've turned over their defensive line a little bit. Yep. Neighbors probably at this point is fully healthy and relatively dominant in the league. You got Scadaboo fully healthy at this point. But I do think the Lions take care of business there. And then it brings us to Week 17, another tough game. The Lions go down to Gary, Indiana to play the Chicago Bears.
Yep.
Oh wait, actually, they're still going to be in Chicago. They're going to go down to Soldier Field and play the Chicago Bears, Week 17.
And I again, like the Vikings, I believe we split with the Bears this year. I don't think we are able to sweep the Ben Johnson Bears this year.
The Fighting Ben Johnsons.
I think that he gets his first victory against the Detroit Lions in Chicago on Week 17.
Tough game. What's the weather? And I do think the Lions are a tougher team than the Bears. You give me a snowy day, I like the Lions.
The tricky thing would be that the Bears are coming off of a tough game against Green Bay in Week 16, and they have to play Christmas Day, just before this. So they do get, I guess, an extra
couple days off, and the Lions are coming off a Monday night game, so they got a little less rest.
Yep.
We're, at this point, Brian, you got the Lions. They're sitting at 13-3, right? Like that's kind of where you're at.
13-4, is that right?
That would be 17 games.
No, I'm sorry. I think I have them 12-4 right now.
12-4.
Yep.
Okay. All right. So we go in last week.
Yep.
Packers at Green Bay.
Yep.
The frozen tundra.
With
probably something on the line here. There's going to be some kind of seeding going on. Big game for the Lions.
Yep. And I believe that the Green Bay Packers and the Detroit Lions split as well. Okay. So I feel like this is another one of those Detroit losses at the end of the season. 12-5, I think, is their overall record. Could it be 13? Yes, I believe it could be 13, but I'm going to overall say that 12-5 is going to be the end all.
So Lions, I didn't comment on the Bears. I do think they beat the Bears. I think they beat the Giants and they beat the Packers.
Whoa!
And they win with they end the season with 14 wins.
Okay.
And they're the top seed in the NFC, and a fairly easy schedule too. I mean, the North is the tough part, right? But outside the North, it's just like you're looking at it. It's just like, you know what? There's a lot of winnable games on that schedule. I think they get to play the three worst teams in the NFL, which is a gift. Right?
Completely. The Arizona Cardinals, the New Orleans Saints, and the Miami Dolphins. I don't disagree. Am I missing somebody?
No,
New York Jets.
Not the New Orleans Saints. I think that the Saints are.
They might be the fourth worst in the NFL, but
I think they're building something down there. But like, I wouldn't call them a playoff team,
sure.
But they're probably I mean. The fact that you just proved the point is you can name a few other teams, and
maybe even the Tennessee Titans are. I mean, I would say that they're closer to bottom half, but
maybe the Falcons.
Maybe middle of the road. Yeah?
The Falcons haven't been a juggernaut, and they're going to Tua to save their problems. A hurt Tua, and then with a hurt Penix.
Yep.
So there's just a lot of potential. This is a really favorable schedule for the Lions. So at this point, what I want you to know is the Lions are going to make the playoffs.
Yep.
And
I don't disagree.
And it's not going to be because the Lions are a juggernaut. They could be, but the Lions have a very favorable schedule, very unlike last year where they had we went into last year on this podcast and told you it's tough sledding for the Lions.
And I'm trying to be as realistic as possible, but I feel like the first half, if not 2/3 of the Lions schedule is pretty easy, and it's hard to say easy as a NFL schedule, but when it comes to schedules go, I feel like the Detroit Lions have a good can establish themselves early in that season in order to really get things rolling, and I hope they start to have that confidence. They start to feel that fun again, like they did a couple years ago, and you can start to see that excitement in the fan base. Start to see the excitement on the field with our players and even our coaching staff. So
you know what's fun is doing a podcast after a win.
It's way better.
Yeah, so last year we got our flavor of all right, this isn't as much fun. Doing the podcast. So bring the heat there. Brian, transition in here.
Yeah.
Kind of way too early predictions. both making the playoffs. A good season. Probably take the over on 10.5 from Vegas. If you're taking this advice, call 1-800-GAMBLER. We are not a gambling soliciting advice, but we will win you some money, so take it. On the draft, anything that you want to recap real quick? Just kind of gun to your head.
Sure.
Thoughts there.
I do believe that Blake Miller is going to be an asset. I'm really excited to see what Derek Moore brings to the table and how quickly he is part of the rotation. I think that
how quickly right now in your mind is Derek Moore part of the rotation?
I think that he starts off, kind of like a Tyreek Williams did last year. I think that we ease him in, and by the end of the season, he is a big contributor.
Is he the starter at the end of the season?
End of the season, he is going to take over, and he's going to be a starter.
Okay, day one starter in my mind, and a guy that is a 3-down guy, except they'll spell him in certain situations. But
I think that we are going to be surprised more by what Kendrick Law brings to the table than what we really anticipate. I think that he is. I've been seeing some highlights of him not necessarily catching the ball, but him blocking downfield, and that makes me very, very excited.
Oh, yeah.
So I like what he is offering, not just as a wide receiver, but also in special teams. I think he's going to be a return guy, and he's going to be very, very successful at that. I love the idea of Abney coming in and being a contributor. I honestly think that we have 4 guys that are going to contribute, maybe even 5 guys that are going to contribute this year on our roster. So,
right now, do you value on the Lions team? Who do you value more, Abney or Rakestraw?
Right now, Abney has got to be the guy that he gives me a little bit more excitement. Only because of the last 2 years of what we've dealt with Rakestraw. Do I have hopium still for Rakestraw? Yes. I still have hope. I have hopium for him. But that's all I have. I mean, he hasn't proven me anything. And at the very least, I can look back at the history of Abney and say that he's been healthy. So,
Lions took a guy in the 4th round this year that we haven't talked about, who will be the starting weak side linebacker for the Detroit Lions coming into this season. Jimmy Rolder, look out. He might not start the year, but he's majority of the year he's going to be your starting. And teams are going to go to nickel. They're going to play a lot of packages. Linebackers aren't always on the field.
Yep.
But the guy's going to be on the field. He's going to play. He's smart. He complements a lot of what the Lions are looking for. Another guy. Pretty rosy draft picture, and after a pretty rosy prediction picture. So this is a very Kool-Aid-ish podcast, which isn't typically our MO. So maybe we'll get off our high hog a little bit later on in the off season.
Yeah, I will question. I believe going into the 2025 season, we talked about rich people problems a lot, right? Well, man, we have lots of those types of problems. I don't believe that we're in that necessarily world right now. I am more in the we got to see it to believe it kind of scenario. Do I want to be there? Yes, I want to be there, but I'm not quite there yet. We got to prove it. I want to see it on the field. I want to be able to believe in this team, and I want to be able to say that this schedule is going to definitely help in that, especially early on.
All right, so idea for the next podcast on the fly here. Let's go position group on our next podcast, and we'll give it a rich people, poor people vote, and we'll just figure out where do we like certain position groups and where do we not like other position groups.
I like it. Let's dive in.
All right, you just got a bedtime reminder on your phone. I'm looking at it here. 11:14. Brian has a bedtime reminder.
It's Friday night.
Anything else?
Listen, guys, I really appreciate everybody continuing to watch and subscribe. I want you to continue to add some of those comments so that we know what direction we want to go next, and ultimately like and subscribe. So
the numbers are banging and Brian is slanging. We appreciate you tuning in to another podcast here. Go Lions, stay classy, stay gritty. Did that wrong. See you next week.